It's February 21st, 2024. I got my hair done again, and I'm in there, and the one girl that does my hair, she seen the undercover police line the front of uh, the hair salon in Walmart 62 and would block the doors because these people would literally come at me, and it got to the point if I had to get my hair done, they just blocked it. It was so dangerous for me at one point. I had 6 stalkers inside Walmart 62. So, and I was going over how Michelle's a stripper. Show her the picture. I said, if that's not her, she's a spitting image of her. And it was her brother Alex impersonating that judge. And I said, you got to think, if he was retired, he looked 60, 65 in that picture. He had 10, 15 years because he's been retired a long time. He's 75, 80. Could you imagine a 75 or 80-year-old breaking in, drugging somebody up, telling them to say something stupid and raping them? She's like, yeah, that wouldn't happen. I said, exactly. I said, even Judge Timothy Ludick on September 18th or 19th, seeing him dressed up in a robe, joking around on the side of my room, acting goofy. He was laughing at him. He didn't know what he was up to. The investigators even said that judge seen him dressed up like that. Didn't realize he was actually impersonating a retired judge, but seeing him in that outfit, goofing around. Dixie, actually, my daughter-in-law, knew Pete and Michelle. I asked her, I said, did you know about Michelle? Yeah, I knew about her. The young blonde girl? Yeah, I knew about her. Okay. Later on, I said, I knew about Michelle. Did you know about retired Judge Pete? Kira and I always said that it was ridiculous what they did to you. Yeah, think. Wait till she finds out where I had talked to her. I said, well, remember that white-haired guy with his hair parted on the side who used to stalk me at Wendy's? She's like, I seen him. Wait till she finds out it's him in a beard. And she knew Michelle and him as Pete. John's kids called her Auntie Shell. On Thanksgiving of 18, they got caught stating they wanted the house for Auntie Shell and Papa, and Grandma needed to get out. And later on to Flora, they made everything up. I had heard them talk about crap in the basement in a legally bugged house on Thanksgiving of 18. I go up to him. I'm like, John, what's going on? He's like, I don't know, Mom. Melissa's just going to have to make up something because of the divorce. They could never say anything bad about you. Don't worry about it. But she'll have the church people make up something too. But nobody could ever say anything bad about you. He defends me. Okay? All right. Flora ratted him out October 23rd, 2019. Of course, it never happened. Of course, it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Laughing. Siksha. Where the undercover police said they come up and they'll make up something, call you a bad word. They said almost was so stupid she made everything up when I was fishing with Dave. She didn't check where I was. She was in it with the guy that drugged me up in front of the cops. Had said that he used sodium pentothal, wrong nightgown, and tushy lie. Dave debunked it real quick in a legally bugged house that I was dressed properly, and they only seen the back of my knees. And yeah. And they're documenting me in jokes. I was out with a client on October 5th, 21 at Huntington Bank on Cleveland Avenue, and they were talking about Melissa lying. And we went to leave, and he's like, who's that crazy Melissa? They always talk about lying. It's like the ex-daughter-in-law friends with ex's girlfriend, had the kids make up some mean games and pretend in front of the place. He's like, she's crazy. I said, I know she is. Okay? He said, they're still talking about her lying. I said, I know that. It was 21. Right? Dave defended me right after Thanksgiving of 18. I taped him, and so did the police. Karen, you're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids, you would never hurt anyone, you're good to everyone, no matter who it is. I went to Josh. I've never hurt you, I've never done anything wrong. I never said you did. And then they were making up lies that I was supposed to flash them. He's like, Mom, where did they get that? Are people making up stuff like that? I've verified you never flashed me. He's like, I'd move away if people are going to make up crap like that. Went to Danny. Well, who said that? Jen's like, okay, what is this? November 13th, 22? Actually, November 13th, 22. She said, Karen, if anybody said you did anything wrong, they would be a Pinocchio. And their pants would burst in flames as if you would do anything wrong. On Christmas Eva, 22. I went to him. I said, did you know where they kicked in my door on the 6th day? Yes. Did you know they set up button cameras stalking me and Dave? No. Did you know about a shower scene in the other room to make me look weird? No. Okay. I said, did you know where I had the big bruises all over me, throwing up, almost passed out in front of the neighbor by the second week? My heart racing and da-da-da-da-da. Yes. I said, did you know they were drug and beat me and tell me say weirdo stuff? No. She said, I thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. I didn't think about it. Kids came out of the room. Grandma, is that what's going on? We didn't know. That would have made them an accessory. To voyeurism, kiddie porn of little kids going to the bathroom, rape and human trafficking, and a sextortion scheme by a stripper. And her brother impersonating and framing a Portage County judge that's retired that nobody remembered. Like I asked Cecily Mullins, an attorney up there. I said, who's that retired Judge Pete that looks like a little white Santa Claus? I don't know. I don't know anybody that looks like that. I said, his picture was on the wall. She said, well, if his picture was on the wall, he's been retired a long time. Well, he looks 60, 65. And she's been an attorney for a while, so you put 10, 15 years on him? Make him 75, 80 out, drugging people up and raping them? Wasn't him. Where on the day of my divorce, 9/18/19, outside my room, I found out these idiots were getting in the back of places, telling people they were there to protect me. And where the regular cops, undercover cops, didn't have to go in because the courthouse is full of police officers. I'm safe there. Okay? Those idiots got in the back. They're joking outside of my room. Before you had us look into it, you knew she couldn't handle it. You knew she appreciated us doing it. And you could find she did nothing wrong. He walks by in a robe. Looks like retired Judge Pete. Okay? Waddling around like this. And I thought, you look like that Alec or Alex, the white hair guy with his hair parted on his side. The guy that said he bashed my skull in 12/21/18 in protected custody. There's a video of him in my house. He said he left his white comb on Dave's dresser on January 4th, 19, when they said, you idiot, you left your comb up there. He said, he was talking about holding me down. Okay? It's him in a beard. Michelle's a stripper where all the strippers and prostitutes showed up in their little skanky outfits. If she isn't that one stripper from that one strip club near Dave's old work, she's a spitting image of her. Dixie knew who she was. John's kids called her Auntie Sean. One of the house four made all those mean, sick games and pretend they were laughing. I would have spanked them if they were my kids. They didn't thank God I'm not their mother. Laughing and joking. All kinds of sick shit. I'm like, my God. I was so embarrassed when I was at BB's party. A whole bunch of adults, and she's laughing at all this mean jokes. I didn't even know about it till she said it. I would have spanked their butts. And she's chuckling and can't suck her lips in. She was 7. She didn't even know what she's saying. But that stripper had to make up all those mean jokes. The one that had her brother drug beat and raped me. Photoshop washing scenes in the other room. Already confessed to that. Huh? And where they were drugging me and leaving me bruised and infected and throwing up and heart racing, they were roofing me and telling me to say weirdo stuff, flashing stuff, hurting people stuff. My whole family defended me. My other grandkids, she's the sweetest grandma ever and the best grandma ever. January 12th, 22, Walgreens, North Main. Officer John, a young guy with black hair and glasses, works my case. He stopped goons at the door. When those kids get caught stating, they made everything up. My ex and I talk about them lying because of the divorce. And that she was just going to have him make it stuff up. She's going to have him make it up for a stripper. That her brother's picking out a retired judge that nobody remembered and trying to frame a Portage County judge. So they thinking that they could be above the law. That if they're a retired judge's family, they can drug, beat, and rape people, be in the cartel, and they could get away with crimes. And here is some stripper and her brother just impersonating him. Told you, my one friend, his mother's a real judge in the state of Ohio, a sitting one. They can't do any of this. You get in trouble for voyeurism. Voyeurism is where you take naked pictures about people without their permission. It's 1 to 5 years per person. Kiddie porns could be life. Little kids going potty, trying to extort money by photoshopping scenes. It's extortion. And that's 12 to 15. Without the rape and the human trafficking me under drugs and leaving me personally infected, swollen,
marks all over me. I went to Altman Family Physicians all summer long of 18. I don't know what's wrong with me. My heart's racing. My head's pounding. I've been throwing up. I got marks on me. I can't explain. My muscles hurt. Did you fall? No. But maybe you're coming anemic. We'll get you some iron pills, some muscle relaxers. My personal area is swollen. I know I went from regular water to well water. And maybe that's what's doing it. Maybe it's making me sick washing it, and they're giving me stuff for personal infection. Here I'm being drugged, being raped by some serial rapist in the drug cartel, scamming people. It's the stupidest scam in the world. Then they had somebody impersonate a doctor from Altman Hospital selling people's information. Even December 30th, 23, they were talking about in Altman Hospital, the nurses outside my client's room, an emergency room, said no one's to talk to these people. We found out they were impersonating a doctor from Altman Hospital selling information. The hospital could get sued. It could get shut down. Selling information and sharing, they can't talk to the police or the feds without your written permission. It's 10-year sentence and a $250,000 fine. And if you impersonate a doctor, it's 1 to 10. A doctor can never testify against you due to HIPAA violations and attached to their license. And then they were saying no one was to back those doctors from before. My God, they were lying so bad. They told her she had brain tumors and there was nothing wrong with her. Well, the only thing that was wrong with me is my muscles locked up from all the surgeries. But they said there was nothing wrong with her. They were all lying. They even told her she had brain tumors. And they were the ones making her sick, ripping off her insurance. No one's ever backed that. So when a couple of the officers working the case, they said all those doctors lied on her before. I said, yeah, it's documented medical malpractice and documented medication errors that made her sick. None of this is funny. See, even Altman Hospital acknowledged it wasn't one of their doctors and it was somebody impersonating him. No one could be, like they said, the police that worked the case, it wasn't even funny that they showed up with somebody saying they were a doctor selling information. Wasn't funny that any of this, they were trying to frame a tire judge nobody remembered. And there's some stripper and her brother pulling a big scam on people, drugging them up with roofies, lying they had sodium pentothal reports, and they're in the human trafficking group. Running a big scam, photoshopping and washing a roofie confession so you're sleepwalking. Told you, my family even knew Michelle. And they knew Pete. And John even seen Alex in the back of Minerva Grinders in 19. Darlene seen him at Bob Evans stalking me. And Dixie seen him several times. Wait till she finds out that was Pete. And Michelle's nothing but a stripper. And that was her brother in a disguise. She'll probably say that figures. And they were the ones scamming people. I was found innocent of everything in 18. 18. Officer marks a tall white guy with white hair. Worst thing you ever did wrong, honey, is bend over and probably we can wipe that one out. May or June of 19 at Liberty House, shared to the North Canton Jackson Police. There was an old man that showed up within the first month of the case. For every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn it on you. You try to leave David List, your child molester. I'm like, who are you? I woke up with a big bruise on my leg that day. Know that bruise on your leg? And it's way up on my thigh. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I used sodium pentothal on you. That freak broke in my house, stabbed me with a date rape drug in my sleep, and told me to say a wrong nightgown and accidentally seeing my butt and a life of pain. That'd been a moment of embarrassment. I got away from that freak. I went home to a legally bugged house. I'm like, Dave, I always wore the grandma nightgown, underwear, and a housecoat when the grandkids were over. I know that. Leggings, sweater, and a housecoat when the grandkids were over. I know that. I said, besides the grandma nightgown and some laces I kept from you, everything else is new from last year. I said, years ago, I had a grandma nightgown, underwear, housecoat. And they only made fun of the back of my knees of, ooh, grandma, what's on the back of your legs? Varicose veins. Here, old pap, while I get changed. We were video chatting. He said, I know that. I said, they only seen the back of my knees. I didn't even own those nightgowns. What's wrong with this? He changed it under drugs. They verified. That's where the worst thing you ever did wrong, honey, is you bent over him properly. We can wipe that one out. Everything else, they've already laughed and confessed that they photoshopped washing in another room, May 26, 22, May 12, 22, March 1st to 3rd of 21. January of 19, they said they put a feminine wipey above the toilet in the other room. And in 18, they were already admitting they were using sodium pentothal. And it's just roofies. You cannot get sodium pentothal. You lie under sodium pentothal, and it's only spy flick movie stuff. So they were roofing me, so I'd be sleepwalking, telling me to say all kinds of crazy stuff. And they admitted they were photoshopping everything, and they were photoshopping all their lies in front of the cops. In 18, they always knew I was framed by the cartel. August 21st to 23rd of 23, outside Kohl's in Belden, Officer Mark was talking to a lady. He said, none of this is funny. She said, did her ex-husband defend her? He said, yes, we taped him. So did I. There's no man. Said, he said, took that one to heart well. He said, her ex-husband defended her. He said, yeah, we taped him. So did I. He said, did anybody talk to her? He said, no. Then they really did frame her. He said, it's documented they framed her. She said, was it the drug cartel? I said, yes, we seen him. So who framed me? The drug cartel. Said it also was a medication error that made her sick before, and there was another woman using her insurance, and it's documented. See, some other lady started using my insurance by the second year of my marriage. She'd go in and stay in the hospital, have treatments, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'd report it as insurance fraud and all this other crazy stuff. And because you only had to call in your insurance information, you didn't have to show ID. She got all kinds of stuff done, and we had to pay the bill. And Dave's tried to say she stole my ID. More than likely, she was one of Dave's girlfriends. And I wasn't smart enough to put it together back then. But yeah, even my brother remembers he was on the union committee for Midwest Rubber, and of that, they were trying to catch Dave in insurance fraud, letting some other woman use my insurance. He can't be faithful. But this thing that he pulled with Michelle and Alex, and all that drug cartel, if he just wanted strippers, I went through all these people kept showing up, laughing at me, that they went out with him, and they look like prostitutes, little red dresses, barely covering their butt and their front, cut down below their chest, and laughing at me. And I thought, you look like hookers. Go. If that's what he wants, go. Started looking up strip clubs near my ex-husband, and one of the poster children, if that's not her, she's a spitting image of her. And yeah, like I said, Dixie knew her, John knew her, John's kids knew her. Called her Auntie Shaw. And they knew Alex's Pete. And retired, like they said, the investigators, they asked Pete, they asked that family they were trying to blame. They knew nothing about it. Well, the real retired George Pete would be 75, 80. 75-year-old, 80-year-old is breaking and drugging people up, beating, raping them. What is he going to do? Take his walker? You got to think Michelle would be his granddaughter or great-granddaughter, not daughter. It was that white-haired guy with his hair parted on the side. If you want a picture of him, like they said in Walmart about a week ago, they have a actual picture of the guy that did this. He bashed her skull in on 12/21/18. He admitted he left his comb on Dave's dresser January 4th of 19. They were confronting him, Bob Evans, you idiot, you left your comb over there. No one's talking about how he was the one holding me down. I have a dent in my head. It's about the size of a ball-peen hammer. They made up the scam of the chip to cover up the attempted murder. They had people walk by and have their phone ding. Another not caretaker, but another medical professional, this one lady I was talking to, she said that she's seen it online in a group chat that they were raping women and then telling them they chipped them, and if they try to go to the police, that they could find them anywhere and they couldn't protect them because it's a puppy shot. And they were getting away with raping people. And it's just a scam. They just have people walk by and have their phone ding. But if you feel the back of my head, it literally feels like a ball-peen hammer. There's an outer ring and then an inner one. And I had the doctor feel it, and she's like, did you hit your head real hard? It's standing in. It's like, no. I had migraines for 2 years. Felt like half my head was going to explode. Ringing in my ears from the impact. I got hurt so bad during this FBI case. I got raped and tortured between July and September 19. And the guy that raped me in protective custody told everybody he was an FBI agent. Faith Family Church, the usher yelled at him in front of 1,000 people for raping me. I showed my neighbor Keith a picture of that stripper. He's like, I've seen her before. Where did I see her? I said, at church making fun of me. He's like, my God, she needed Jesus. I said, do you remember those big truck guys that showed up at church, said they were FBI working my case? He's like, yeah, I remember them. I said, the only ones working my case was the sheriffs there. I said, the FBI opened the case, but the police were taking care of it. He said, Karen, that's fucked up. I seen him. He's like, my God, they all needed Jesus. I laughed at that one. Michelle would go in and, because she was like an 18-year-old kid, she would hold court and sit there and brag to everyone how she had me raped and tortured and da-da-da-da-da. And they were doing everything for her and trying to tell everybody she was a retired judge's kid. And here she's nothing but a fucking prostitute. And her brother scamming everybody in a big sextortion scam. People have yelled about it in Hartville, Akron, everything. It was that stupid stripper prostitute and her brother, a family member, scamming everybody. Nobody say a word. You wait till Dixie finds out it's just that white-haired guy with his hair part on the side and a beard. She's probably going to say, that figures. It was nothing but a stupid stripper and her brother drugging somebody up, telling them to say something with roofies. So they're sleepwalking. What they did where I woke up with injection marks is called needling someone. I went on Google and was done how they did these things to me. They put the date rape drug in a needle. They stab you. It takes 45 seconds. You're under somebody's control for 4 to 6 hours. Instead of just roofing your drinking, it take a minute or two before you get sick and dizzy. Then you're sleepwalking. Think of LSD. In the 60s, those hippies took it, were hallucinating, walk around. It's sort of like the same derivative, but different medicines. And them working with the fentanyl came from Texas. It's where they got all the fucking roofies. They used to brag the drug dealers that could control anybody with those drugs. I've never talked to anybody. And before the FBI, I didn't even see anybody. How would you like to think it's the well water making you sick? You're waking up with bruises, throwing up, and you're thinking it's giving you cancer. And it's infecting your private area, and it's so toxic, it's making you almost pass out just washing your hands, and you find out some sexual predator had been drug beating, raping you. And then people make fun of you for being victimized by a prostitute and her brother running a drug scam. And fooling everybody like some retired judge would be above the law. See, that's where I think it was Officer Mark outside Kohl's like a month ago. He was talking to him. He said, we found out in the beginning of the case, her ex-husband was having her so drugged up, they were drug beating, raping her, and she didn't even know what was happening to her. And it was supposed to be some retired judge messed up in the drug cartel, and they told us all to stay out of it till they got his drug connections. See, they wanted him. And then they found out it's just some guy in the drug cartel saying he's a judge. Says stripper's brother. You want a picture of Alex? 12/21/18. I had a doctor's appointment. Got a shower. Got a house coat on. Went to the refrigerator. Stabbed in the neck. Bashed in the back of the head. Out for 6 hours. Left his coma on day stressor after he cleaned up after the attack. He's in my house. In a legally booked house. In an FBI case. It's him. I'm gonna upload this.